Good evening, everyone. So for the continuation of our review this evening, we will going to tackle geographic information system and remote sensing. So we will move to the very first question. It says here, what is the purpose of a map title? So letter A, to indicate the map, the direction of the north. Letter B, to explain the symbols used on the map. Letter C, to provide a succinct description of the map subject. And letter D, to show the ratio between the distance on the map and in the real world. So if you are going to look at the keyword here is the purpose of the map title. So let's look at first the map. So as what presented in the screen, it is actually a tenure map of the municipality of Tampilisan, province of Zamboanga del Norte, with a scale of 1:125,000. Datum PRS 1992, UTM Zone 51. And we can also see here the legend of the tenurial map, and we have also the north arrow here. So if we were going to understand what is the purpose of the map title, this is the map title, so therefore it provides a succinct description. When we say succinct description, it is the briefly or clear description of the map subject. So, ibig sabihin, ito ay nagbibigay kung ano ba talaga ang ibig sabihin ng mapa. So, this map is a tenure map. So, let's proceed to number 2. Which map element is also commonly referred to us as the key and serves to explain what the various symbols and color on the map means? So, the keyword here is key and serve to explain what the various symbol and color of the map means. So, if we were going to analyze, ito po yung may mga color. And ito po may mga color, ito po ay isang legend. Dito po makikita natin if we were going to talk about the reforestation project, which is the violet, which focuses in the area, and the red one here is the presidential proclamation, or kung dito sa amin, ito na yung eskwelahan namin. Kasi itong proclamation na to ang nagsasabi na ang JRMSU or ang Jose Rizal Memorial State University ay isang school reservation. And the yellow also is the CBFM area. So, ang legend po ay nag-e-explain what the various symbols and colors of the map means. So, the answer is letter C. So, number 3, a compass rose is used to show a map orientation, and it indicate which directions. So, ano ba daw yung ini-indicate na directions ng map orientation, which is this one. So, ano po ba daw yung ini-indicate niya? Is it the west and the east in the west only, the north, south, and east only, or the cardinal direction? When we say the cardinal direction, ibig sabihin po noon ay north, south, east, and west. And we have here also line of latitude and longitude. So the answer here is letter C. So number 5, how does the map scale, yung pinakita ko kanina sa inyo, help the users of the map? So ang map scale po ay sabi po, ito po yung map scale. Etong 1 is equal to 125,000. Okay, so we will go into check. So first, letter A, it shows the relationship between the distance of the map and the corresponding distance in the real world. Second, it helps the user locate the specific place using the coordinate. It provides the visual boundary of the map element. Nagbibigay ba daw siya ng boundary? Or it lists the data, sources, and projection information. So, yung map scale po ay nagbibigay po siya ng relationship between the distance of the map and the corresponding distance on the real world. Kasi nga, yung isang value noon, ibig sabihin ay kung ano po yung distance niya sa actual area or sa real world scenario. So, number 5, kaya po letter A ang answer. So, we have here number 5. So, sa number 5, what is the function of the grid system on the map? Okay, when we say grid system po, it is a framework of evenly spaced horizontal and vertical lines that help organize the content, the alignment, and create consistent layout. Ito po siya. Dito po banda. So, kung titingnan natin, ano ba ang purpose ng grid system? First, letter A, to show the map aesthetic border. Pang-aesthetic border lang ba si grid system? To provide the name of the map author. Pinoprovide niya ba yung name ng author ng gumawa ng map? To show which way is north. Nagbibigay ba siya ng way? Or pinapakita ba niya yung way kung saan yung north? Or it help locate the specific place using a network of intersection lines such as latitude and longitude. Kung makikita po natin dito, meron po itong mga coordinates. And ito po ay nagbibigay sa atin ng specific place. It locates the specific place using the lines such as the latitude and the longitude. Kaya po, letter D yung answer. So we're going to proceed to number 6. Which of the following element is used to show the orientation of the map? Diba sinabi ko kanina, yung north arrow ang nagde-declare sa 4 cardinal direction, which is the north, south, east, west. Kaya yung answer po dito is letter B. Kasi si Map Legend ay nagbibigay lamang siya ng description ng mga colors and figures na nasa map. Ang map title naman ay nagbibigay ng clear definition or ng representation kung anong klaseng map ang nasa area. Okay? So the answer is north arrow because it represented the 4 cardinal direction. Number 7. What is the primary function of netline or the map border? Ano ba ang function ng netline or map border? To show the map scale, to serve as the visual containment of all the element map, to define the projection of the map, to provide the key for the map symbol. So the answer here is letter B. Serve as the visual containment for all the element of the map. Number 8. The terms key and the legend of the map are often used interchangeably. But what is the main purpose of this element? Yung legend daw, ano daw yung ibig sabihin ng legend or tinatawag din nating key? First, it indicates who created the map. Wrong. B, to show the map location on the larger scale. Hindi, kasi ito ay map scale. to provide the publication date of the map? Hindi, kasi ang hinahanap natin ay legend. Or it's to show to define the symbols used in the map. So, ang legend, sabi ko kanina, is represented by a symbol or a color which actually define the symbol used on the map. Kaya the answer is letter C. Okay, we'll proceed to number 9. What are the two main types of lines that make up a grid system on the world map? So, sinabi ko na kanina, a grid system is composed of a latitude, and longitude. That's why the answer is letter A. Okay. Number 10. A map scale that is represented by a line with markings similar to a ruler is known as a numeric scale, graphic scale, verbal scale, or ratio scale. So, hindi siya pwede sa numerical, verbal, and ratio scale. Kasi nga, ang mapa natin ay actually represented in a graphical representation. Kaya ang tawag dito is graphic scale. Okay, we'll proceed to number 11. Which map element is a smaller map included within the border of the larger map to provide additional geographic context? Is it the locator map, the main map, the grid map, or the inset map? So, itong tinatawag po natin, ito po siya. To provide a wider view, dito po, ito po. Ito po siya. Ito po yung tinatawag natin na inset map. And ito po is the actual map. Okay? So, the answer here is letter D, the inset map, because it is a smaller map that actually provide additional geographic context. Okay, number 12. Why is a citation or data source attribution important on the map? First, it helps make a map look more professional. Wrong. It provides the title of the map. Hindi. Kasi title map iyon. Letter D, it showed the map compass rose. Hindi. Dahil ito ay north arrow. Or it established the map credibility by crediting the data sources. So, since we are looking for data sources, attribution, and citation, the answer is letter C. Next, which map element provide a description of how a 3D globe surface is transformed into a 2D plane? Is it the map scale? Hindi. Dahil ito ay nagbibigay ng representation kung ano ang actual size ng area ng specific area sa actual world. The grid system, hindi din siya. Yung inset map ay maliit lang din. Kaya ang answer is map projection. Okay, we'll have number 14. The main body or data frame of a map is where what is displayed. Again, the main body or data frame of the map is where what is displayed. A, the author's name and date. Next, the geographic data layer. the legend and the title, or the map citation? So the answer here is geographic data layer, because we are looking for the data frame, and the main body of the map. Okay, basic, no? We're going to proceed to number 15. What is the purpose of the map label? Bakit ba daw mayroong label ang map? Siyempre, ang label ng map, it provide a descriptive information about the features like street and rivers. Kasi pag walang label, hindi natin ma-identify if what specific legend is that one. It cannot be indicate the map author. It is not also to show the map scale, and it does not define the map symbol. Okay? Sige, we'll proceed to number 16. If a map has a scale of 1:10,000, what does this mean? Pag meron daw ba scale na 1:10, di ba sabi kanina, ito ang nagbibigay ng representation kung gaano kalaki sa actual area gaano kalaki ang isang 1 in an actual area. So, ibig sabihin po nito, 1 unit of measurement, for example, 1 unit of measurement on the map is equal to 10,000 of the same unit in the real world. For example, this is centimeter. This is also equivalent to 10,000 centimeter in the actual field. Okay, so the answer here is letter C. So number 17. Which map element is often the largest and the most prominent text on the map? Saan ba daw parte sa mapa yung may pinakamalaking font, largest and the most prominent text na gamit? Ito ba yung legend? Legend ba yun kanina yung may pinakamalaki? Yung title, the scale, or the citation? Okay, kung babalikan natin, ano ba yung pinakamay malaki dito? Is it the citation? Ito, reference? Hindi, di ba? Hindi din yung author. Ito yung may pinaka-prominenteng text in the map. So, the answer will be the title. Okay. We're going to proceed to another discussion. Kanina puro tayo mapa. Ngayon, we will going to move down about the geographic information system, or our main focus here is the GIS. For the question number 1, what is a geographic information system? Ano nga ba daw yung geographic information system? I know that you have already discussed this one during your GIS subject. Letter A, it is a system daw of hardware and software used to design a graphic art. When we say graphic art, ito yung ibig sabihin like mga Photoshop, mga Canva. Hindi naman yan ganyan, di ba, yung geographic information system, although it is made up also of hardware, which is the computer or the laptop, and the software, yung ginagamit nating software, no, mga ArcGIS, mga QGIS, yun yung mga software. Madami pa tayong software na ginagamit. But the familiar one is the ARC and the QGIS. Pero sabi ko nga kanina, it is not used as geographic art for geographic art designing. So letter C, A computer program for making maps. Computer program lang ba siya in creating a map? So letter C is also wrong because GIS is not just mapping program. It is also manages and analyze data. Hindi lang lahat ng GIS is about creating map. It also analyzes and manages the data. Diba, for example, pag meron tayong mga data na nakukuha sa field, diba sinostore natin siya? So, hindi lang ibig sabihin na mapa lang ang kaya nating gawin dito. It is also a storage wherein we can able also to analyze and manage the data that we have in our computer. So, kulang ito dahil hindi lamang mapa yung makikreate ng isang geographic information system. Sabi dito, it is also a database for storing geographic location. Database lamang ba siya? Sabi dito, GIS includes database. But it is not limited to storing coordinates. Hindi lang siya nag-store ng coordinates, but also, sabi, nag-a-analyze. Nag-a-analyze niya, analysis and visual. Kasi makikita natin yung mapa natin after. Kaya hindi lang siya for storing. So the correct and the best answer here, I know na some of this might be wondering or makakaipag-isip tayo na pwede naman yung letter C, letter A, letter D might be the correct answer kasi pwede naman yung gawin ng GIS. Pero sabi ko nga sa inyo before, in the board exam, it's not all about finding the correct answer. But then again, it is finding or selecting the best answer in the choices. So if we were going to look at the correct answer is a system of hardware, software, procedures to manage and display georeference data to solve a complex problem. Again, sabi nga, no, ang mga elements of a GIS is composed hardware, software, procedures, and a people for you to work as a geographic information system. Kung wala iyon, hindi yun kompleto. To solve a complex problem. Ano nga ba yung mga problem that a GIS can answer? Diba merong 5? I know you already discussed this one, but we will going to tackle it again for others to refresh and to review what are the following problems we or the GIS can answer. Sabi dito, ang first talaga na problem that a GIS can answer is the location. Basic na sa atin yan. To find out what exists at a particular area. Sa GIS daw, makikita kung ano ba ang meron sa isang area. Also, sa GIS, sinasabi din niya yung condition, where it is. Saan ba ito? It finds the locations where a certain condition are satisfied. Saan ba nangyari ito? Trends. What has changed? Sa GIS, binibigay din niya sa atin yung information. Ano ba yung nagbago? For example, from 1970, ito yung forest cover natin. Ngayon, ilan na ba yung forest cover natin? So, it find differences within the area over time. So, makikita natin na there is a difference in the past and in the present. in terms in our forest. It also gives us pattern. What spatial pattern exists? Ano ba ang mga patterns na nag-exist sa area? Know how many anomalies, where are that don't fit in the pattern, and where they are located. Makikita natin yung mga anomalies at saan ba siya nalolocate or happened in the area. It also presented model where it actually answered the question, what if? It questions are posed to determine what happened in a specific area. So, nape-predict niya, pwede siyang mag-model na dahil ngayon, ganito na lang, dahil, for example, for 1970, for example, we have 80% remaining forest cover. From 1990, meron na lang tayong, for example, 65 remaining forest cover. So, titingnan niya ngayon, pagdating ba ng 2020, ilan na lang yung forest cover natin. So, dito, nape-predict niya, nagkakaroon siya ng model na nagbibigay sa atin ng representation na kaya pala ni GIS magganito. And by this, we can able to decide what are the possible things that we should do para hindi bumaba yung number ng forest cover natin in the Philippines. So, yun ay example lamang. So, we'll have number 2. Kaya ang answer dito again is letter B. Kasi yung letter B has a complete explanation of what is the real definition of Geographic Information System or GIS. Okay? We'll go to the number 2 question. Sabi dito, what is the key difference between the GIS and the GI science or the G science? Okay? In the is concerned, okay, for a while. So, ano ba daw yung kaibahan ng GIS and ng G science? Sige. So, the answer here is letter C. Kasi daw, si GIS can answer what and where. While geoscience is actually concerning palagi sa how. No? Sa GIS kasi sabi niya dito nangyari, ito yung nangyari. Pero si G-Science, sinasabi niya sa atin, or tinatanong niya palagi, how it happens. He is more concerned on paano ito nangyari. Okay? Again, si GIS, tandaan niyo lang na concern siya sa dalawa. Sa what and sa where. And geoscience, palagi siyang concerned sa how it happens. Okay? So, tandaan nyo lang na GIS is a practical tool, software, used for mapping and analysis. And geoscience, kaya siya palaging focus, what and where. Kasi nga, software siya na nagde-determine and nag-a-analyze. While geoscience is a research field that studies how the underlying theories, methods of GIS works. So, hindi lang siya nagsisettle na, ay, oo, gumawa na ng mapa, ito nang ibig sabihin. Mas concerned siya, paano yun nangyari, and how the method done for that certain map to be created. Paano nagawa yung method, anong ginamit na method para mag-create ng ganyang model, for example. Okay, we'll proceed to number 3. I already included this one kasi I guess it might be part basin of the question on the history part of the GIS kasi when I was also looking on the policy, lumalabas din kasi naman yung mga history. That's why we were going also to tackle this one. Nagbabaka sakali na baka lumabas ito. Who is credited with coining? Ibig sabihin ng coining, ano ba yun ang ibig sabihin ng coining, ma'am? When we said coining, kung sa atin yan, ibig sabihin yan, sino ang nag-invent? Sino ang nagpasimula? Ng term na geomatics in the mid-1980s. Okay? Sige. Before we will going to tackle kung sino ba yung nagpasimula ng geomatics, we will first learn ano nga ba yung geomatics. I guess it was already discussed by your teacher during your GIS, but for the sake again to review it again, geomatics is the science ito and technology field which includes GIS, survey, remote sensing, and GPS. Yan yung ibig sabihin ng geomatics. Kumbaga napaka-broad niya. Nadala niya yung GIS, survey, remote sensing, and GPS. Ma'am, anong kaibahan niya sa GIS? Ang GIS ay isa lamang system or software used specifically for analyzing and managing a spatial data. In a context now, for example, bibigyan ko kayo ng context. Sa geomatics, para siyang whole hospital. Nandoon niya yung doktor, yung nurses, yung equipments, yung lab. Pero yung GIS ay isa lamang departamento or department ng isang hospital. Just like, pedya lang siya or radiology lang siya, hindi siya the whole thing. Yung GIS. Pero when we say geomatics, lahat na kasali doon. Sige, balik tayo sa tanong, who is credited with coining or invented nagpasimula ng term na geomatics in the mid-1980? Excuse me. So the correct answer is Michael Paradis. It is a Canadian surveyor coined geomatics in the 1980 to describe the field combination of GIS, surveying, mapping, and remote sensing. Later on, we will going to discuss yung ibang choices, ano nga ba ang ambag nila sa GIS. Okay? We're going to proceed to, I hope you get it, we will going to proceed to number 4 question. Which British physician, doktor ito, is credited with the start of epidemiology after mapping cholera outbreak locations in London? Diba in the history, if you can remember during the discussion of your GIS teacher, sinabi doon na may isang British physician na nag-start actually ng mapping or ng concept ng GIS. Pero before, hindi pa nila na-identify na ay concept pala yun ng Geographic Information System. Ito kasi yung nangyari. In 1854, spatial analysis began when, sabi nga doon, cholera outbreak, nagka-cholera, hit the city of London, England. And before, no one knew about how the disease started. Hindi nila alam na sa tubig pala yun nagsisimula yung cholera. And then, the British doctor, John Snow, in the name of John Snow, began mapping the outbreak location. So, tinry niya saan ba nanggagaling yung outbreak na ito, ng cholera na ito. And naging epidemic na siya eh. So, tiningnan niya. He began mapping outbreak location, but he also locate the roads, properties, boundaries, water line. Tinitingnan niya kung saan ba nagsimula. Many thought, maraming nagsasabi, na yung disease daw was propagated through the air, yung cholera. Sabi nila ay nagpo-propagate yan sa hangin. But it was a major event connecting to geography. Dito na nangyari yung concept ng GIS. So in the public health safety, it has also marked the start of epidemiology, or the study of the spread of the diseases. So nakita nila na ay sa tubig pala yung cholera, kasi nakita nila yung problem nandoon sa mga area, or na-map nila sa water lines ng location sa City of London, England. Kaya nasabi nila na ang iba nga, kina-question nila, bakit daw hindi si John Snow ang naging, if your teacher, mention this to you, kasi sa amin during the GIS training, sa isang seminar na na-attendan ko, sabi nung lecturer namin, or nung professor na nag-lecture sa amin, sabi niya, yung cholera talaga is, si John Snow talaga, sinasabihan nilang na pwede actually ito na maging father of GIS, kasi siya naman talaga ang una. Bakit si Roger Tomlinson yung naging father ng GIS? Kasi kung we were going to understand it very well, si John Snow naman talaga ang nakapag-coin ng concept, or nakapag-start talaga ng concept ng GIS. Sige. Inom lang ako ng tubig. So, I was mentioning, di ba, sabi ko kanina, si John Snow naman talaga ang unang naka-informal formulate ng concept ng GIS. Tapos, bakit ngayon, we were going to proceed to the another information, bakit po, kung tinatanong natin, bakit po si Roger Tomlinson yung naging father ng GIS, na si John Snow naman pala ang nakapag-map ng cholera, which is the start of the concept of the GIS. Si Roger Tomlinson, F. Tomlinson, yung nakapag-first coined, or kumbaga, naka-invent ng salitang Geographic Information System sa kanyang published paper. Yung pangalan ng paper niya is okay, wait for a while. Ilak ko muna. A Geographic Information System. For regional planning. Yung paper niya na nagmarka ng word na Geographic Information System. At doon, he was remembered as a father of GIS. Okay? So, siya yung father ng GIS. So, for additional information, namatay si Roger Tomlinson year 2014. I forgot the exact date, pero namatay siya noong year 2014. Kaya siya yung father of the GIS. Again, bakit naging father of GIS? Siya dahil nga nakapag-publish po siya ng isang paper na Geographic Information System for Regional Planning. Kaya po, siya po yung naging father of GIS natin. Okay? So, dito na tayo sa number 6. Okay. For a while. So, number 6. Sige, number 6. Which stage of GIS development saw the creation of the Canadian Geographic Information System? So, ang answer po dito is the GIS pioneering period in the year 1960 to 1975. Okay? Do you want me to share? Hanapin ko muna yung history ng GIS for a while for us to, so that you have the overview. Ano nga bang nangyari dito sa pioneering stage? Because para mapagtagpi-tagpi ninyo yung kwento. For a while, ha? Okay, for a while. Hanapin ko lang yung history. GIS. Okay. So here. So hindi ko siya ma-present, but I will still read it, and those information na I think importante, I will just write it here in the slides. Okay? So for a while. So, meron kasi tayong mga stages of GIS development. So, may tinatawag tayong dark ages, meron tayong pioneering, meron tayong software commercialization, and user proliferation. Okay, we're going to first discuss, sana makinig pa din po kayo, with regards to the dark ages. Ang Dark Ages po, sinabi ko po kanina na it was actually before 1960. Sa concept ko ito na Dark Ages, GIS Dark Ages, yung mga mapa po dito, yung mga maps are actually simple. Dito sa ages na ito, sa Dark Ages, maps were simple. But, sabi dito, wala pang mapa na ginagawa sa computer. Puro pa lahat in a paper and a pencil. All maps was done on a paper. In a transparent layer of light on the table daw. And calculating area was next to impossible. Sabi daw sa Dark Ages, yung pag-calculate daw ng area is next to impossible. Parang napaka-imposible ng pag-measure ng distance ng area. Napaka-imposible po siyang gawin before 1960 or the Dark Ages time. Sabi nga dito, measuring of the distance in the area was very cumbersome. When I say cumbersome, napakahirap. Then we have na the GIS pioneering on the year 1960 to 1975. Dito, may mga advancement ng technology in this era, no? Wherein they are now using printers in actually presenting a map. They also use computer and also recording the coordinates. And dito, in this era, na-develop na ng yung Canadian Geographic Information System or the CGIS. Sino yung nag-develop? Ang nag-develop nun ay si Roger Tomlinson. Okay? So, in the software commercialization in the year 1975 to 1990, dito na actually na-develop yung first vector GIS data or GIS, which is yung pangalan ng first vector GIS is Odyssey GIS. Ito yung first vector data. Later, we're going to discuss what is vector data. But I know your instructor have already discussed this, the vector and the raster data, kasi yun yung mga importanteng information that we need to understand, or the basic information before we can create a map, can able to understand what is a vector and what is a raster data. Okay? So, sige, ano naman po yung mga importanteng nangyari during users proliferation time. I would like also to add na yung first conference ng GIS was actually done in the year 1981, wherein meron lang po itong crowd or audience na 18, a total of 18 person on that day. And yung GIS Day po natin, kung kailan tayo naggugunita ng GIS Day natin, nangyayari po yan every 21 of November. Kasi yung GIS Day po natin ay nangyari noong, yung first GIS Day natin ay nangyari noong November 21, 2018. Kaya po ito yung GIS Day natin. Again, yung first vector data natin, GIS natin, ay tinawag natin na ODC. Nangyari yan sa software commercialization, wherein ang first GIS conference natin ay nangyari noong 1981 at the crowd or audience only of 18 participants. And yung GIS Day natin ay nangyari ito noong November 21, 2018. Okay? Sige. We're going to proceed to the users proliferation. So, users proliferations, dito na yung napakita or na-present yung mga cheaper, faster, and more powerful computers. So, in the year 1990 to 2010, dito na yung mga high class, mga matataas at kalibre at mga murang computers na pinalabas sa market. Again, from walang computer, nagkaroon ng printer, lumabas yung first vector data, and ngayon marami na tayong mga improvement, and nangyari pala iyon sa users proliferation on the year 1990 to 2010. Okay? I hope I gave you little information or background on the history of the GIS, and I hope you understand how the GIS or the concept of GIS created, no? Because that is very, very important. Which of the following is not a component of GIS as listed? Ano po ba daw yung mga hindi component ng GIS na nakalista dyan? People ba ito? Software ba ito? Mapa ba ito? Or hardware? Ang answer ay mapa. Kasi nga, kung makikita natin, ito po yung components ng GIS. I know this one was already also discussed by your professor. So, sabi dito, para po makapag-create tayo ng isang mapa, ang kailangan po natin ay ang people. So, first and foremost, we need to have the data. Data that was gathered in the area, or in the site, or in the field, no? Kinuha natin yan sa field. Then, syempre, anong gagawin natin doon? Dapat meron tayong method doon. Paano ba natin gagawin yun? Kailangan natin ng method. Paano natin gagawin na ipaprocess natin ang data? Kailangan din tayo ng tao na magpaprocess sa data, of course. And after that, we need to have the software. Dahil pag wala tayong ArcGIS, QGIS, hindi yan magagawa ang mapa. And hindi din natin yun makakayang gawin kung sa cellphone lang. Dapat kailangan natin ng hardware or computer, laptop. Kasi, sinabi ko nga sa inyo, at sinabi na rin siguro ng mga professors ninyo na syempre mabigat talaga yung QGIS or ArcGIS pag in-install natin, no? So, ito yung mga components ng GIS. And if we were going to understand question, hindi kasali yung mapa. Kasi yung output kasi dito is the map. The output here is equal to a map. Kaya hindi siya kasama sa component ng GIS kasi output siya. Okay? Sige, again, for the components, you have people, software, hardware, data, and methods. Okay? So, we'll move to number 8. In a typical GIS workstation, Which hardware component is described as the workhorse? No? Ibig sabihin, ito daw ay described bilang isang workhorse. Okay? Pero we will going to define first what is workhorse, of course. Sabi ang workhorse, it is the most important work. No? It is the most important work and or kumbaga siya yung gumagawa ng mas mga mabibigat na trabaho and headquarters for processing data. So, the answer natin dito, eto nalaman na natin ito nung nag-ICT tayo, no, during high school or senior high. So, ang answer natin dito is letter C, of course, no? The CPU or the Central Processing Unit. Kasi nga, si CPU ang nag-execute ng instruction and is the processing powerhouse. Siya yung may mas mabigat na trabaho sa lahat. Kasi kung sasabihin nating hard disk drive, ito lang naman ay storage and hindi ito processing. No? Storage lang ito. Pag sinabi naman nating RAM, temporary memory ito. Memory. And although it supports processing, but not the main workhorse. Kasi nga, ang main workhorse natin gumagawa ng trabaho is the Central Processing Unit. When we say Graphic Processing Unit, ay nagtutulong naman ito para i-render yung mapa, but not the Central Processing Unit. Kaya answer natin dito is letter C. We'll have number 9. I hope you understand number 8. We will going to proceed to number 9. Okay. The question is, what GIS software is described as a market leader and the most innovative and cutting edge in the industry? So, kumbaga leader ito, no? Yung pinaka-mas may maraming benta na klase ng GIS sa market. So, yung pagpipilian natin, we have the QGIS. Alam niyo naman ito, no? Na Quantum GIS. Na Quantum GIS ito. We have also the EDRIC, the Map Info Professional, and the ArcGIS. Okay? So, our possible answer here is syempre ArcGIS. Kasi, yung ArcGIS by Esri is the one who dominates the GIS market and known as the cutting edge tools. Si ArcGIS talaga yung do-dominate sa ating market. And malalaman lang natin kasi nga tayo dito, no? As I can remember, meron pa nga ako before na naka-install ako ng crack lang na ArcGIS kasi maganda naman talaga siya. Pero wala lang tayong pambayad para ibili. Kaya nung settle na lang tayo sa crack, tuloy nasira yung laptop ko. Pero now, I use QGIS in mapping. Kasi nga, hindi pwedeng maging answer natin QGIS dito. Hindi naman kasi siya leader sa market. Kasi nga, open source siya, wala tayong bayad as long we have the internet connection. Kaya hindi siya pwedeng one of the leader. Although sikat naman talaga si QGIS. We cannot deny that one, no? Kasi gusto natin na magmapa, gamit ng isang open source, pwede tayong gumamit ng QGIS. Pag tinabi naman natin map info professional, it is also a strong competitor, but has a smaller market share. No, maliit lang yung market share niya, kaya hindi siya market leader. When we say Edrisi naman, si Edrisi kasi is for academic and educational use. It is not used for industrial leader. Okay? So I hope you understand kung bakit siya market leader. We'll proceed to number 10. Sige. So number 10, no? According to the document, what is the main rival of ArcGIS? Diba, I have already discussed to you what is ArcGIS. Sabi nga natin, hindi ito open source, ito ay market leader. No? And ano po ba yung rival ni ArcGIS in other GIS software? Yung answer po natin dito is MapInfo. Bakit po MapInfo yung answer natin dito? Kasi nga po, MapInfo Professional is considered a ArcGIS main rival, especially in business and government mapping. Kasi hindi naman nagkakalayo yung kanilang kumbaga yung kanilang capacity to work sa mga mabibigat na klaseng mga mapa. And again, QGIS is not the correct answer. Kasi although sabi dito, open source naman pala si QGIS, pero traditionally, hindi siya nagiging main rival in industry term or industrial term. And si Manifold, hindi din siya rival ni ArcGIS. Okay? So we will going to proceed to number 12. Okay? Sige. So I'll read first the question. Sabi dito, which type of vector data is used to represent features that are too small to be represented by a polygon, such as fire hydrants, and manholes? Okay? It is too small to represent a polygon. Okay? Ano po ba yung line? Or, unahin muna natin yung points. Sabi ang points daw, ito daw yung X and Y na coordinates. Ibig sabihin, simply, it's just the X and Y coordinates. Generally, ibig sabihin po ito po ang latitude and longitude. And with the spatial reference frame. Ito pong feature na ito are too small to be represented as polygon. Kaya points are ginagamit natin para ma-represent ang specific coordinates in an area. Kaya po ang answer dito ay points. Ma'am, ano naman po yung line? Yung line naman actually, for example, this is the point. So, sobrang liit niya to represent the polygon. Pag sinabi naman natin line, it represents actually the river, the road, and the pipeline. So, it actually connects the two main point. Balik. Ibahin natin ang color para ma-identify nyo. Nagko-connect siyang ganyan. Nasobrahan naman ng ganyan. Aroy. Saglit lang. Ng ganyan. So, yan po yung green po ay tinatawag natin yung line. Again, ito kanina too small to represent a polygon. Ito naman, nag-represent siya kung sa forestry or sa mga pwedeng panggamitan yan. Pwede siyang maging river, road, pipeline. Pwede natin siyang gamitin. When we say polygon naman, eto ay pag na-close na yung mga lines. It connect vertices and close it. Eto, for example, meron ditong point and we connect it at gamit yung line, for example. Pag na-connect na po natin yan, eto po ay isang polygon na. Yan po yung ibig sabihin ng polygon. It shows actually the boundaries and they all have an area. Meron na po itong area. Kasi nga po, pwede mo na po siyang ma-measure eh. Kaya nga po siya polygon. Okay? Kaya ang answer natin dito, to make the story short, ang answer natin dito is points. Okay, we're going to proceed to number 13 question. So, ang question po sa number 13, what is the fundamental unit of a raster data? Ano po ba yung fundamental na unit na gamit ng isang raster data? Is it pixels? Is it vertices? Is it polygon? Or is it a line? So, sabi dito, di ba meron tayong dalawang data? We have the raster data. I should use red. Di ba meron tayong raster data? Alam nyo na ito. And we have the vector data. We have the, tama ba yan? Okay, tama yan. We have the vector data. Si raster data, ang ginagamit niya ay mga pixels. Parang mga ganyan. Pixels. Ito naman si vector. Tandaan nyo lang from the word vector, it forms actually a vector. Ibig sabihin, it's actually a point, a line, a point, a line, and a polygon. Okay? Diba? Madali lang. Again, raster data, gagamit tayo ng fundamental unit which called as pixels. While in the vector data, parang viva. We use the point, line, and the polygon so that we can measure the specific area. Kasi kung point lamang
yung makukuha lang natin is a x and y coordinates. Okay? So, pag sinabi naman dito na vector, fundamental niya is pwede polygon lines and endpoint, excuse me. Okay. Excuse me. So, number 14. What is the key advantage of using a vector data model? Ano po ba yung advantage of using a vector data? Sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, ang vector data ay actually a points, line, and a shape. A points, line, and a polygon. So first, they are the data model for satellite data. Tama ba yun? Second, data analysis is usually quick and easy to perform. Letter D, continuous data is poorly stored and displayed. And letter C, which is the correct answer, they give higher geographic accuracy because data isn't dependent on grid size. So the answer is letter C. Bakit letter C? Kasi nga po, si vector, sabi ko kanina, it composed of the points, line, and polygon. And syempre, if it composed of that, it stores exact coordinates. So accuracy isn't tied to pixel resolution like raster. Kaya po, accurate yung geographic area ng isang specific location. Kaya the answer is letter C. They give higher geographic accuracy because data isn't dependent on the grid line. Kasi nga, dependent siya sa points, line, and polygon. Why letter A is not the right answer? Because raster is the model for satellite data, not a vector data. So raster yung ginagamit. Hanap natin vector kaya hindi siya correct answer. Letter B, vector analysis is often more complex, not necessarily quicker and easy. Tandaan nyo, pag vector data is more complex, hindi siya easy. Okay? Letter D, continuous data like elevation is poorly stored in vector, but well stored in raster. Kaya continuous data is poorly stored in display. Mali. Kasi kung raster dito, pwede itong letter D. Pero hindi vector naman yung hinahanap natin. Kaya our answer, the best answer here is letter C. Okay, I hope you understand. We will going to proceed to number 15. Okay. So, which of the following is not a disadvantage of using raster data model? So, first, they have pixelated look. So, hanap naman natin which of the following is not disadvantage. Hindi daw disadvantage ng raster. Again, sabi ng raster, pixel yung gamit natin dito. They have a pixelated look and feel, not a disadvantage. So, hindi pwede. No? Kasi, is it a true disadvantage? Raster often look blocky and pixelated. Pag i-zoom mo, kasi nga, pixels yung kung paano siya na-form. Kaya blocky yung pagka zoom in mo yan. Unlike a vector data. Na hindi siya dependent sa mga grid lines. Linear feature and paths are difficult to display. Still also a wrong answer. Kasi, but is still a true advantage. Kasi nga, straight linear feature like road and river are jagged and a raster. Kaya, true disadvantage siya. Ang letter C is a true disadvantage but because a network dataset, for example, road and utilities, are much better in vector. Kasi nga, very small sila. So, hindi siya pwede. It is a true disadvantage. Kaya yung answer is letter C. They are the data model for satellite. Kasi, this is an actual advantage. Kasi nga, raster is natural is the natural format for satellite imagery and remote sensing data. Kaya ang answer dito is letter D. Okay? We'll have number 16. Okay. Sige. What are the 3 mandatory files for shapefile? Shapefile, no? Nakukuha natin pag nagsisurvey tayo. Ano ba daw yung mga mandatory file of shapefile? So, yung mga mandatory shapefile natin are actually the 3. The geometric, which is the shapefile, SHP, the shape index, which is the SHX, and the attribute table, which is the DBF. So the answer here is letter A. Ang letter letter B, not letter A. Kasi naman ang PRJ is ito naman yung mga metadata and projection info. When we say the KML, di ba yung KML and KMZ, XML for Google Earth naman ito. And not for shapefile. And GPD naman is iba ring formats ito. Kaya the answer is letter B. Sorry, nagkamali ako sa na-highlight ko. We'll proceed to number 17. Sabi dito, which GIS file format is XML based language primarily used for Google Earth? So the answer is KML, or the key hallmark of language are the XML based in Google Earth main file format. Kasi naman ang shapefile is for vector data, GIS format, and the file geodatabase is for ESRI format, and the OpenStreetMap is of course for the Google Earth. Okay, kaya answer natin is letter C because we are looking for this one. Okay, number 18. Sabi dito, what is the file storage limit for personal geodatabase, MDB? The correct answer for the MDB or the Microsoft Access Base na tinatawag natin, personal geodatabases have a max of 2 GB. Kasi pag 1 terabyte na ito, hindi ito totoo. Much larger. Incorrect din yung 500 GB. Masyadong maliit. Kaya the correct answer is 2 GB. Hindi naman siya pwedeng maging unlimited. False yan. Number 20. Sige, for number 20. Sige. Which term refer to a network of intersecting line of the latitude and the longitude drawn in the globe? Kagaya dito. Nag-intersect sila. Tinatawag natin yung graticule. Kasi ang graticule is the grid for latitude and longitude. Kaya the answer is letter C. Hindi naman natin pwedeng maging answer si datum kasi nga si datum ay isa lamang reference. Ano nga yun? System. Ano nga? For coordinates. Hindi natin pwedeng maging answer si geoid kasi nga pag sinabi nga nating geoid, ano iyon? Ito ay ang Earth gravity-based surface. Again, geoid is the Earth gravity-based surface. Ano naman yung ellipsoid? Ito naman ay mathematical model of the Earth's shape. Kaya the answer is yung nag-intersect yung longitude at latitude is graticule. Okay, we'll proceed to number 21. Paliitin na natin. Sabi ko kanina, no, geoid is the Earth gravity-based surface. Okay? Let's understand this one. So that what is the term for the surface of the Earth gravity field? Ito na. Ito yung keyword. So the answer here is geoid. Ito daw yun. Ito yun yung mukha ng Earth natin. Kung yung totoong mukha ng Earth natin. Defined as the Earth gravity field which is approximately the same mean of the sea level. Okay? Kaya geoid siya. Sige, number 22. Okay, sabi sa number 22. What is the name of the Philippine geodetic datum that was first defined in 1911? It is based on Clark 1966 reference ellipsoid. So, the answer is, ano nga yung pinakalumang datum ng Philippines? The answer is Luzon 1911. So, the answer here is letter D. Ang newer Philippine datum naman natin is PRS or the Philippine Reference System 1992 or 1992. PRS 92 is the new. Pag sinabing old, doon kayo sa Luzon 1911. So, Philippine, newer Philippine, Philippine datum. Ang datum naman na ginagamit natin sa GPS actually is WGS-84 or the World Geodetic System. Okay. We'll proceed to number 23. Opo. Sige. Which of the following is the geocentric datum used as the reference coordinate system for GPS? So, sinabi ko na kanina, kaya answer is letter C. Dito sinabi ko na kanina na GPS ito. Kaya answer natin dito is ano? Okay, letter C. I will not repeat that again kasi I discussed already that one. Number 24, a geographic coordinate system or GSC use what kind of surface to define location of on the earth. So, ano daw yung ginagamit? The ginagamit is the three-dimensional spherical surface. Kasi GCS or Geographic Coordinate System uses the latitude, the longitude on the spherical ellipsoidal Earth model. Kaya ang answer is three-dimensional. Okay? Sige. What is the minimum number of satellites required for GNSS receiver to calculate a 3D position? We are talking about here the latitude and the longitude and the elevation. So, 4. Tatlong posisyon ng X, Y, Z plus 1 for correcting receiver clock error. Kaya ang answer natin is a total of 4. Again, X, Y, Z plus the correcting receiver clock. Correcting receiver clock error. Kaya 4 lahat is equal to 4. Kaya answer dito is 4. Okay, we'll proceed to number 26. Malapit na tayo. Page 9 na tayo. Okay. Sige po. We'll have number 26. The geoprocessing tool that extracts the subset of one feature class using one or more features in another feature class is called. So, sabi sa clip, extract a subset of one feature using one or more feature in another feature class. So, input coverage mo ito, tapos nilagyan mo ng clip coverage. So, ang output coverage mo ay pa-circle na. No? It's a combination between the input and the clip coverage. Kaya, ang answer natin is clip. Kasi yung clip is actually cuts out features based on another boundary. Hindi na niya pinalo ang boundary na ito sa input. Ito na yung pinalo niya. When we say intersect, it actually keeps overlap but also create a new shape. Later, we're going to discuss that one. We have also union, merges all the feature. Nag-unite lang sila. Merge, combine data set, not a subset extraction. Hindi siya nag-extract ng isa pang subset. Sige. Just like sa picture. We'll have number 27. Ito ay merge. No? Pinagdugtong lang niya yung dalawa. Kaya, input is equals to output. It is the geoprocessing tool that combines multiple input feature classes in the same data type into a single or new output feature class. The answer is merge. Because sabi sa merge, it combines. It put multiple feature classes together. Kaya, ang answer is merge, of course. Sige, when I say buffer, ano naman yung buffer? Sige. So, what type of geographic tool creates an area around input feature to a specific distance? Specified distance. Ang answer natin dito is buffer. Bakit buffer? Because it zones around point, line, and shape. Okay, we have here buffer creates an area around the input. Kung ito lang po yung area, yung yellow, gumagawa po tayo ng green. Ito po yung buffer natin. Ito yung output coverage. So, point buffer ito. Line buffer ito. Kaya, it creates around the area of input. That's why the answer is buffer. No? Ito yung keyword. Buffer zone. Number 29. In a vector overlay, which tools writes feature or portion of the features that overlap in or layer to the output feature class? Okay, when we say intersect, it features or portion features which overlap in all layer and or feature classes will be written in the output feature. So, yun na. So, sa intersect, pinapakita niya yung overlap. Since nag-overlap ang green at saka yellow, pakita, ito yung output na overlap. Kaya ito na. Kasi yung portion naman nito ay hindi naman nag-intersect. Hindi naman siya nag-overlap sa isang layer. Kaya answer dito is intersect. Get it? Kasi nga ang intersect writes only overlapping parts. Kumbaga, pinapakita niya lamang yung mga overlapping parts. Yung mga hindi overlapping parts, hindi niya na ipinapakita. Okay. In the raster data, raster data is a pixel by pixel form. What is a group of connected cell in a zone considered? Is it a pixel? Is it a region? Is it a matrix? Or the value attribute table? So the answer here is a group of connected cells with a zone that is called a region. Kasi ang pixel naman is only one cell. Isa lang siyang cell. Parang ganyan lang siya. When we say matrix, is the raster grid itself. Kaya answer natin, if we are looking for the group of connected cell in a zone, is considered as a region. Okay. What is the definition of remote sensing? Ano nga po ba yung definition ng remote sensing? Okay. Remote sensing daw is a science and technology of obtaining information about the object, area, or a phenomenon without making a physical contact or touch, usually by detecting or measuring the radiation, the energy reflect or omitted. So, titingnan natin what is the best answer. What is the definition of remote sensing? A method of a physical contact, measurement of the object, the science of obtaining information about the object without being in physical contact with. Kaya answer is letter B. Okay. Next, we have number 33. Which of the following is not a fundamental component of the remote sensing process? So, ang answer po dito is not a fundamental. Why letter C is why is letter C is the correct answer? The answer is letter C. Bakit po letter C yung answer? Kasi letter C, remote sensing, means no contact. And nakikita mo dito, not yung hinahanap. And physical contact with the target is not the definition or the correct definition of the remote sensing. Kasi nga, no physical touch lang, gamit lang yun ng mga radiation that is reflected or emitted. Kaya po siya naging remote sensing. Kaya wrong po ito. Okay, we'll have number 33. What is the main source of energy for passive remote sensing? Ano po ba yung passive and ano po ba yung passive and active? So we have two types of remote sensing. Meron tayong passive and we have passive and we have the active. Anong kaibahan po nila? Si passive po, sensor detect not natural energy. Ibig sabihin, gamit yung, kasi natural sunlight of course. So, pag sinabing active naman po, remote sensing, ano gamit nito? Laser ang gamit nito or radar. Diba? So, sige ngayon. So, sinahanap natin passive So, solar radiation. Kasi solar is sa sun lang naman, diba? Kaya answer natin is letter C. Correct. Tama po yan. We'll move to number 34. Which of the following is an example of active? Active, diba? Kanina, radar or laser. Kaya answer is letter C. Radar sensor. Because the radar is a sensor sent by its own energy in the active type of remote sensing. That's why letter C yung answer. Number 36. Marapit po tayo matapos. In remote sensing, the term resolution can refer to several characteristics. Which type of resolution signifies the number of the width of the spectral band of the sensor? So the answer dito is letter C, spectral resolution. Bakit spectral resolution po yung answer? Kasi nga po, spectral resolution is actually sensitivity to wavelength. Wavelength ranges. Hindi po siya pwede spatial resolution kasi nga pixel po yung binibigay nito. Radiomatics is the intensity level and temporal is the revisit frequency. Kaya answer po natin dito is resolution. Ang tawag po natin dito is width naman yung hanap natin dito. The answer is spectral kasi sensitive ito sa wavelength ranges. Kaya answer po natin saan is letter B. Okay, we'll have number 37. 37, answer po natin dito. Basahin po muna natin yung tanong. A healthy green plant appears green to the human eye because it primarily reflects with portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. Kung tatanungin ninyo bakit green light yung answer, ma'am, kasi syempre plant absorb, diba, blue and red for photosynthesis. And for that, it reflects actually green, kaya it appears green. Okay, kaya the answer is green light. So number 39. Which of the following is the key advantage of the remote sensing? It requires physical contact with the object. Di ba hindi? It provides synoptic or large area view. Pwede. Kasi it can capture, when we say remote sensing, it captures a huge area at once. Okay? Kaya hindi lamang ito limited sa visible wavelength, but it captures a large area. So again, that is the last question for the for the remote sensing. So that's it for this recording for the GIS and remote sensing.